The tariff tango when elephants and eagles dance. The United States and India, two of the world's biggest democracies, should be best friends, right? But their relationship is more like a complicated dance. One step forward, two steps back. This is the story of their tariff tango, a dance of trade, tension, and billions of dollars. We'll dive into 15 years of trade data, from life-saving medicines to sparkling diamonds and massive airplanes. This isn't just about numbers. It's about how trade policies impact real lives, from your smartphone to the medicine in your cabinet. What happens between the US and India sends ripples across the global economy. So grab your popcorn, or chai and a hot dog, because this is a story you won't want to miss. The pharmacy of the world has a copay. India is called the pharmacy of the world for a reason. It produces affordable generic drugs for millions, including Americans. The US relies on Indian generics to keep healthcare costs down, while India depends on the US market to fuel its pharma industry. But it's not all smooth sailing. Regulations, patents, and quality control make this a tricky trade. The FDA keeps a close eye on Indian plants, and any slip-up can halt drug imports, causing headaches for both sides. Tariffs are always a looming threat, especially during trade tensions. The US sometimes uses the threat of tariffs to push India on intellectual property rights, while India champions cheaper generics. It's a high-stakes balancing act: affordable medicine versus protecting innovation. Any disruption, tariff or regulatory, can have real consequences for patients. This trade isn't just about money. It's about global health and economic dependency. The flow of pills from Mumbai to Memphis is a powerful indicator of the US-India relationship's health. It's a delicate system, and even small changes can have big impacts. So next time you fill a prescription, remember it's part of a global negotiation. The pharmacy of the world has a copay, and it's set by politics. The stakes couldn't be higher. Diamonds are a diplomat's best friend. India is the world's diamond cutting and polishing hub. The US is the world's biggest diamond jewelry market. Rough diamonds travel to Surat, India, where artisans turn them into sparkling gems for American engagement rings and necklaces. This billion-dollar trade supports jobs on both sides, but it's not immune to tariffs. Jewelry is an easy target in trade disputes, luxury, not necessity, so tariffs can hit hard, squeezing Indian exporters and raising prices for Americans. Policy changes like the US removing India from the GSP program have forced Indian businesses to adapt or lose competitiveness. The sparkle of a diamond is tied to the stability of US-India trade. Even the most glamorous industries are shaped by international politics. That little stone on your finger? It's a product of global diplomacy. Diamonds really are a diplomat's best friend. The big machines that build a nation. America exports big machinery, engines, pumps, construction equipment, to fuel India's infrastructure boom. These sales create jobs in the US and help build India's roads, factories, and cities. But India protects its own machinery sector with high import duties, hoping to nurture domestic manufacturers. The US wants open markets. India wants to build its own industrial base. This leads to constant friction and negotiation, lower tariffs versus local growth. Policies shift quickly, forcing American companies to adapt. The journey of a bulldozer from Illinois to India is paved with policy debates. It's a classic clash: free trade versus protectionism. Machinery trade is a pillar of the relationship, but also a source of tension. Every machine shipped is a product of compromise. Now for a product that literally fuels the world: oil and gas. For years, India bought oil from the Middle East, and the US was a net importer. Then came the US shale revolution. Suddenly, America had oil to export. India, eager to diversify, started buying US oil, making America one of its top suppliers. This new trade is more than business. It's a geopolitical shift, strengthening the US-India alliance. But oil prices are volatile, and global politics, like US sanctions on Iran, shape who buys from whom. Sometimes US oil exports to India are boosted by diplomatic pressure, not just market forces. For India, it's about energy security. For the US, it's a huge new market. But this relationship is transactional and sensitive to global power plays. The flow of oil is now a barometer of political alignment. It's a new, significant chapter in US-India trade. Technology and politics can redraw supply chains overnight. The energy dance is just getting started. Let's get a little more specific and dive into the world of organic chemicals. Organic chemicals are everywhere. Plastics, dyes, pharmaceuticals, cosmetics. The US and India both have massive chemical industries, trading billions in both directions. This mutual dependency means neither side can afford to disrupt the flow without hurting themselves. Tariffs or regulatory changes can quickly raise costs for manufacturers on both sides. Intellectual property and safety standards are constant battlegrounds. The chemical trade is a quiet but powerful indicator of economic integration. It's not just about finished goods, but the supply chains that create them. The chemical romance is full of complex bonds and the occasional explosive disagreement. It's the invisible trade that holds the visible world together. And it's always one reaction away from a trade dispute. Let's talk about the things that power our lives. Literally, electrical machinery. From semiconductors to giant generators, this trade covers the full spectrum of modern tech. The US exports high-end electronics and components to India, fueling its Digital India ambitions. India, in turn, is becoming a global player, exporting wires, motors, and even finished electronics to the US. But tariffs on tech products are a major flashpoint. The US says India's tariffs violate trade commitments. India says they're needed to build local industry. This battle over tech tariffs is one of the most contentious in the relationship. The outcome will shape the future of tech manufacturing for both nations. Will India become the next electronics hub? Will US tech get pricier in India? The flow of electrical machinery is charged with big economic questions. It's a high-voltage debate with global consequences. Okay, let's hit the road and talk about vehicles. America has Detroit, India has the world's largest two-wheeler market, the US exports high-end cars and bikes to India, while India exports auto parts to the US. But India's sky-high tariffs on imported cars, sometimes over 100%, force foreign automakers to build locally. The US calls this unfair. India says it's essential for job creation. This standoff limits choices for Indian consumers and frustrates US automakers. The auto trade is a microcosm of the larger tension-free trade versus protectionism. Every negotiation is a tug-of-war, with no finish line in sight. Tariffs make imported cars expensive and stall progress on other trade issues. The auto industry is where both sides dig in their heels. It's a high-speed chase with no easy off-ramp. From the roads, let's take to the skies, aircraft and aerospace. India's booming aviation market means huge orders for American giant Boeing. These multi-billion-dollar deals are often announced at high-level summits. But it's not just about selling planes. Indian companies now make parts for Boeing, deepening the partnership. Unlike cars, aircraft trade usually avoids tariff battles. The deals are too big and strategic. Still, these sales are intensely political, often tied to broader diplomatic goals. Defense sales, planes, helicopters, drones, are also growing, reflecting shared security interests. The aerospace supply chain is global, and India is becoming a key player. Aircraft trade is more than commerce. It's a symbol of strategic partnership. Every plane sold or part made is a sign of deepening ties. The sky's the limit for this high-flying relationship, and every deal lifts the partnership to new heights. Now let's get back down to earth and talk about something fundamental: steel. Both the US and India are major steel producers, and the trade was stable until tariffs hit. In 2018, the US imposed sweeping tariffs on steel, citing national security. Indian steel exports to the US became 25% more expensive overnight. India retaliated with tariffs on US goods like almonds and chemicals. A dispute in one sector quickly spilled over into others, hurting unrelated industries. Both sides took their case to the WTO, highlighting a deep philosophical divide: protectionism versus free trade. The steel battle is a reminder of how quickly trade relationships can rust. National interests and global rules often collide. Every tariff is a shot in a global trade war, and the fallout is felt far beyond the factory floor. Finally, let's get to the stuff we can eat: agriculture. The US exports almonds, apples, and more to India. India sends mangoes, spices, rice, and shrimp to the US. For American farmers, India is a crucial market. For Indian growers, the US is a land of opportunity. But agriculture is often the first target in trade wars. Tariffs on almonds and apples hit American farmers hard. Non-tariff barriers, like food safety rules, can block trade just as effectively as tariffs. Every apple or mango that crosses borders faces a maze of regulations and politics. Trade disputes can turn a delicious exchange sour overnight. Farmers on both sides become pawns in a bigger game. The journey from orchard to market is fraught with hurdles. Food trade is personal, political, and always at risk. Every bite tells a story of global negotiation. So, there you have it. The tariff tango. It's a dance of cooperation and confrontation, shaping the global economy. Despite disputes, the US and India are deeply dependent on each other. The future will bring more twists as both nations balance strategic and economic interests. Make in India will keep clashing with America's call for fair trade. The music is still playing and the dance is far from over. What do you think? Are tariffs a tool for growth or a barrier to prosperity? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching.